Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and joining me for this 45-minute introduction to Pilates. This is really a beginner's guide to the Pilates movement system. My name is Sharon Hillenar. If you haven't practiced with me before, I am the owner of Live Coaching and Fitness. I'm a certified personal trainer, certified yoga instructor, as well as certified Pilates instructor with the National Pilates Center. I'm very excited to be here today because today we're going to be talking about some of the fundamental principles of Pilates. We're going to be working through some opening mobilizations, and then we're going to move right into some of the fundamental beginners Pilates movement or exercises within the program. So all you're going to need today is really just your body, some space around you. It'd be nice to have a nice comfortable mat so that you have something to sit on or lie down on that has a little bit of cushioning. I like to have a blanket nearby, so we're going to use this perhaps a little later on in our practice. So if you don't have one, perhaps pause the video and go ahead and grab one. I'm just using a regular yoga blanket here today, but you can use a couch blanket. You can use a very thin pillow as well. So that's also a good tool to use. So feel free to go ahead and grab that. We are also going to be using a blanket. Sorry, making sure my mic is on. We're also going to be using perhaps a strap. So if you have either a yoga strap or you have a TheraBand strap that's a bit more elastic, that's absolutely fine. These are really going to be great for our roll-ups that we're going to be doing a little bit later on in our program today. So go ahead, and I'm going to just set this off to the side. We're going to start today on our backs. We're going to be talking a little bit about some of the fundamental principles of Pilates. And first and foremost, one of the main ones is, of course, breathing, which is fundamental in a lot of movement systems. So, but we're going to get really comfortable on the floor. And I just want to maybe encourage you to kind of find yourself down on the floor with your knees bent. So just making your way down, making any adjustments. And before we go anywhere here, we're just going to let our hands kind of rest down at our sides. And let's just see if we can notice where our back is, notice where our shoulders are touching the ground, and see if you can notice if your chin is slightly lifted and your forehead is slightly back, or perhaps if your chin is slightly tucked and your forehead is slightly forward. Let's see if we can just place our head in such a way that the forehead and the chin are nicely aligned. Our gaze is up towards the sky. Maybe if you have a ponytail, if you do tend to hold your hair back, maybe you need to remove the ponytail. Actually, mine's sitting in such a way that it feels pretty good here. And what we're looking for here is really trying to keep the cervical spine aligned with the rest of our spine. If our chin is tucked in towards our chest, it's creating a little bit of flexion. If our chin is lifted, it's creating a little bit of extension. We never really want to put our spine in that motion or any space for any length and period of time. So it's really important to kind of find that neutral space. So from here, let's just go ahead and just quiet our mind down, let our body rest down the floor. Maybe if you want to, you can knock your knees together just to release the back. And let's just begin by taking a few breaths just in and out, just centering our attention, just bringing some awareness to the body today. Just maybe see if you can relax your body a little bit. Settle in. Perfect. Let's take one more. Terrific. Wonderful. So one of the primary, one of many primary principles within Pilates is our breathing. So we're going to begin by taking our hands and just opening them up and fatting them out so your hands are nice and wide. We're going to take the fingers and kind of set them on our rib cage, so wherever they land here. And maybe you can take your thumb and kind of cup them back so you're kind of holding the rib cage in the hand. Now in Pilates, unlike yoga, in Pilates, we breathe into a lateral posterior breath. So in yoga, if you've done yoga before and you're a yogi, you're going to be really used to breathing into the belly area. And I'm telling you now, I'm a yoga instructor and have been for some years. This was one of the harder challenges for me, to just get adopted to just breathing into that lateral space in the rib cage rather than wanting to go down to the belly. So this is a great tool to use to kind of just bring that awareness to this lateral breathing, this lateral posterior breath. So with your hands cupping your rib cage, soften through your upper body, and just take a few normal breaths in and just kind of fill your hands with your ribs. And you can start to feel that rib cage kind of expanding and fanning out on the inhale. And then you can start to feel it kind of depressing inward as you exhale. And let's just take a few breaths here, just bringing some deep awareness to the ribs. And then allowing the ribs to just really pull in as you exhale. Wonderful. Now in Pilates, we breathe a little differently. We breathe in through the nose and we blow out through the mouth, but we're blowing out through the mouth with some pursed lips. So perhaps you're going to round your lips like you're blowing through a straw. So start to breathe in through the nose, feel the rib cage expanding into the hands. And begin to purse the lips and pretend you're blowing out a bubble. Let the breath completely empty. Breathe in and breathe out. Start to feel the rib cage deepen a little bit further. Breathe in. Let's do that again. Wonderful. Now we're going to continue with this breath, but now I want you to draw some awareness to the posterior side of the body, and that's basically the back part of the body, and breathing into the rib cage here. So I want you to feel a little bit of pressure of the back as you breathe in, pressing into the back, and really gently. We're not looking to really force or muscle our way down to the earth, but we want to just feel that rib cage kind of pressing down into the mat and then laterally into the rib cage. So let's just take a couple of breaths there. Breathing in, breathing laterally, feeling a bit of that pressure of the breath kind of coming into the back body. And then as you exhale, let the breath kind of leave the body, draw the rib cage in. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. Let's do that a few more times. Good. You can even start to feel a little bit of that core engagement kind of naturally happening as you exhale, perhaps. Good. One last one. Wonderful. And let's just release our hands to the side here. Now we're going to continue with that lateral posterior breath as we move through our movements here. So we're just going to continue to bring that awareness, but if you want to, you can release your hands away from the ribs. Still keeping your head nice and neutral here, that nice natural curve in the back of the neck. Good. Now let's begin. We're going to begin to go into some pelvic tilts here. So when we go into an anterior tilt, we're tilting the pelvis so that the hip bones are reaching up towards the sky, and it starts to create this really kind of unnatural arch in the low back. It feels like you're really kind of forcing this. And then to create a posterior tilt, we're going to tilt the pelvis in the opposite direction. So we're going to bring the hip bones down towards the mat, maybe feel like we're lowering the low back into the earth. So let's just go into an anterior tilt on the inhale. Feel that breath into the ribs. As you exhale, blow through the straw and tilt the pelvis down towards the earth. Now, as you're doing this, I want you to bring some awareness to the glutes. Do you feel like as you're tilting either forward or back, you're engaging through the glutes? Try to allow this movement to happen really from the pelvis and not from this engagement or tightening of the glutes here. We want to just bring some awareness to the pelvic region, really kind of beginning to have this movement, but letting it come from that area rather than this clenching of the glutes. And that's kind of a tricky thing to start to kind of embrace. It took me some time to really kind of, I want to naturally want to clench in through the glutes just because that's kind of what we always do. But here we're just trying to create some gentle movement through the pelvis and just try to allow the pelvis to move without any sort of assistance. Great. Just continue. Terrific. Now let's go ahead and meet with our pelvis tilted anteriorly. So you've got this big arch in the low back, and we're going to take it. So I want you to imagine that as you're tilting your pelvis forward, you're kind of aiming towards that 6 o'clock mark. And then we're going to tip our pelvis, again, using just the pelvic area, towards the 3 o'clock mark. Then, or sorry, the 9 o'clock mark, then the 12. So then you're coming back into that posterior tilt, and then the 9 o'clock mark. So it's like you're creating circles. So tilt the pelvis so you're dipping down towards 6. Reach over towards the right side, pretend that's 9. Now lower the low back, that posterior tilt, pretend that's 12. And then tilt over to the left and pretend that's 3. And let's just continue here. And there's 4 points of connection. You can even think of this as north, south, east, west. And we're just kind of rotating through the pelvic area here. And all we're doing, part of Pilates is really trying to bring this awareness of the body, this precision of movement. So we're really trying to invite the movement in with as much control of breath, of movement, and really kind of syncing the two together. Let's go ahead and just continue with these pelvic rotations. Again, we're trying to just create this movement without any sort of assistance from the glutes here. Try to see if you can keep other areas of the body nice and soft, and especially the shoulders or the throat. That sometimes we tend to tighten up through the upper body here. And I really want you just to try to imagine you're just letting everything else be nice and soft here. Good. Now from here, we're going to reverse our direction. So move it in the opposite direction, maybe counterclockwise. And just notice how this feels. Again, just fitting and hitting those 4 points here. Just see if you're engaging through different areas of the body, like the glutes. Maybe you're tensing up through the legs. See if you can just allow the movement to be right into that pelvic area. Wonderful. And then when you're ready, come back right back towards center. Let's finish up with one more, and then we'll come back to center. Terrific. Now let's come back to center, and let's go back one more time into that anterior tilt. So tilt the pelvis. So you're really tilting the pelvis up. You've got this unnatural curve. I usually use the example of pretending you've got a teacup on your pelvic area. You're tipping the teacup. Water is coming out. And then I want you to tilt the teacup or the pelvis so the water kind of splashes towards you. And now I want us to see if we can even out that teacup. So if you're a coffee drinker, use coffee. Even out that position on the, I'm just going to take my hair out here, and see if you can bring that pelvic region really nice and neutral. And I can even look down here. And I typically like to encourage people to create a diamond with the pointed finger and the thumb, and just kind of aiming it down towards that pubic symphysis. And you can see whether it's neutral, whether it's kind of flat there as best as possible. And right from this point, you've got your neutral spine. And this is something we refer to in Pilates really all the time, going into neutral. And this is where I want you to land. So this may feel, for some, like this doesn't feel natural in terms of the low back. I know for me, when I first did this, I was like, oh gosh, it feels like this is not my natural state. But really, this is where your spine is the most supported. It's really in its nice form and nice placement on the spine. So we really want to try to see that when we're doing our exercises, when I refer back to neutral spine, this is what I'm referring to. Now, next, we're going to set our hands to the side here. We're going to talk a little bit about imprint and release. So imprint and release, we're basically, when we go into imprint, we're engaging the deep abdominal muscles. And while we do that, we really stabilize in through the pelvis. And this is going to be really key to some of our movements in Pilates. So we want to make sure that when we go into imprint, we really engage that core to keep the back and the pelvic region nice and supported, especially if we're in a place right now where we're just beginning off Pilates and you're doing an exercise in neutral, but you can't quite keep that neutral space or that neutral form in your back, and you find yourself kind of tilting or kind of adjusting that pelvis, you're going to want to do your exercise in imprint. So set your hands to the side. Find your pelvic into that neutral area, into that neutral spine. And we're going to take a nice big inhale into our lateral posterior breath. And then as you exhale, I want you to pull the belly in towards the spine and up. And this is going to create, and drop your rib cage down. And this is going to create a little bit of flexion here. Your low back may start to press down and towards the floor. And you're going to feel some really deep core engagement here. Try to do this without using your glutes. Inhale, come back to your neutral spine. So there's kind of this real sensation of tilting the pelvis. Rib cage drops down. Belly button pulls up. There's a sense of opposition here, and you're really pulling in to that belly in towards the spine. So from your neutral breath, from your neutral spine, let's go ahead and do a few more of those imprint and releases. Breathing in, lateral posterior breath, exhale, empty the breath, pull the belly in, draw the rib cage down, pull the belly up towards the ribs, soften the shoulders, and then inhale back into your neutral. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale back to neutral. And exhale into your imprint. Good. One more time. Breathe in. Back to neutral. Breathe out. Find your imprint. Good. And inhale back to neutral. Nice job. Beautiful. So when we're in neutral, when we're in our imprint, and I refer to you as, or say to you, all right, let's go into imprint here, especially for the 100. The 100 we always do an imprint. You're holding that core engagement the whole time we're doing the exercise. So that's why we breathe in laterally and posteriorly into the upper part of the ribs and the lungs. So this really allows our core to stay nice and engaged the whole time. So if ever you're doing exercises and you feel like, let's say for instance, chest lift, as you're coming to chest lift, your low back flattens down to the ground, we're going to want to do chest lift in imprint. And I'll talk to you about that shortly as we get into it. Wonderful. So let's go ahead and we're going to set our hands to the side. We're going to bring our pelvis into this neutral space. Our feet, knees, and hips are nicely aligned, and they're kind of just in this neutral position here, hip distance apart. And let's go ahead and we're going to bring our arms up towards the sky. We're going to do a little bit of opening mobilizations here. So just getting our body warmed up and ready for our set. So arms are going to be shoulder distance apart. Fingers are going to reach up towards the sky. Shoulders are going to be flat down on the floor. And this is kind of our neutral space for our shoulders. And let's go ahead and breathe in. And we're going to reach the palms up towards the sky. Exhale, bring the shoulders back to neutral. Inhale, breathe in. You can feel the shoulder blades gliding away from each other. Exhale, bring your shoulders back to neutral. Wonderful. Breathe in. And breathe out. Wonderful. Breathe in. Now we're protracting the shoulders away and then bringing back to neutral. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in. And breathe out. Wonderful. Now we're going to go into retraction. That's where we basically glide the shoulder blades together, really engaging the rhomboids and the traps. So getting the upper part of our body nice and warmed up. All the while, our ribs are nice and neutral, spine is nice and neutral, feet are nice and planted. Everything feels really nice and supported here. So breathe in to prepare. Exhale, we're going to glide the shoulder blades together. Now, as you do so, try to do so without popping up the ribs. Try to keep everything nice and neutral. Inhale, come back to that natural space. Here we go. Exhale, slide the shoulder blades together. Really engage in through the shoulder blades without creeping up the ears. Want to drop the shoulder blades down. Inhale, go ahead back to neutral. Exhale, slide the shoulder blades together. Inhale, back to neutral. Fantastic. Let's do that 2 more times. Exhale. Inhale. Beautiful. Exhale. And inhale, come back to neutral. Beautiful. Now we're going to go into protraction and retraction. So let's go ahead and breathe in and reach the hands up towards the sky. Separate the shoulder blades, protracting them. Exhale, glide the shoulder blades together. Bring them towards center. Inhale, slide the hands up. Exhale, glide them together. Wonderful. Keep going. Breathe in. Protract. Exhale, breathe out, retract the shoulder blades. Breathe in. And exhale, breathe out. Wonderful. Last one, breathe in. And exhale, breathe out. Wonderful. Go ahead and bring those shoulders back to neutral and then set your hands out down to the side. Fantastic. Next, we're going to draw our feet about a foot's distance from the glute to the heel. We're going to go into our hip rolls. So we're going to do a little bit of articulation through the spine, so articulating through each of the vertebrae. Now with the hands resting at the side, put a little bit of pressure there so you can feel the earth beneath you. We're going to go ahead and breathe in. And as we exhale, pull the belly in, start to tilt the pelvis and start to peel your body off the ground, vertebrae by vertebrae, opening up into your bridge. Breathe in here. And then exhale as you start to make your way down to the ground. Keep your pelvis tilted and articulate down vertebrae by vertebrae, bringing your pelvis back to neutral. Exhale, tilt the pelvis, start to peel up, press into the heels, peel vertebrae by vertebrae. Open up here. Find that nice long line from shoulder to knee. Keep the core and the glutes engaged. And then exhale, articulate down vertebrae by vertebrae. Wonderful. Back to neutral spine. Go ahead, continue to do that. We're going to do that 3 more times. Exhale. And it's a wonderful way also to really create this connection between movement and breath, like we just did with the protraction or retraction. A nice way just to start to invite that correlation, that working between the two. So this is so nice. Now, when you lift your body up here, try to keep your knees still aligned with the hips and the ankles. If you start to feel a lot of pressure in through the shoulders, try to weigh in more into the shoulders and then slowly come back down. Good, let's do 1 more. I've kind of lost count here, but that's okay. Press in, open up the front body. Now here, let's just hold on here for a second. Take a gander down, maybe even put your hands on your hips. Do they feel nice and even here? That's also, if you find yourself tilting to one side and really putting more work into one side, I want you to try to even that space out. Both sides nice and balanced. Pressure into the feet nice and equal. And then from here, articulate down. Use your core, use your glutes to set yourself back down right to the floor. Fantastic. Well done. Great job. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to bring ourselves into our toe taps next, just to warm up a little bit through the core. Again, another opening mobilization exercise. So from here, we're going to combine a bit of that imprint and release, and we're going to do a little bit of work with the core here and really using also some of our legs. So in our bodies, we have our hip flexors, and our hip flexors help us walk and do hip extension. We do so much with our hip flexors. But here the intention is really to warm up the core. So I can lift and lower my legs all day long because that's my job. My hip flexors is set to do. So they can do this all day long. However, once I start to bring my core into the picture, the intention is a little different. And so now I'm going to be using my core to really facilitate the lift and lowering of the leg. So we're going to be doing this in imprint. So let's begin by taking a breath in through the nose. Let's just do 1 imprint for reminder's sake. Breathe in. Exhale, pull into the belly, drop the rib cage, and really start to engage deeply into that core. You can even take your thumb and your pointed finger, just feel it right at that low abdomen area. Feel that core engagement, and then inhale, come back to neutral. Fantastic. Now next, we're going to go into imprint, and as we exhale into imprint, we're going to lift both feet into tabletop. So right here, knee above hip, and feet maybe slightly above the knees here. And with that nice engagement of the core in imprint. So let's go ahead, set the hands to the side, take a breath in. As you exhale, draw the navel in towards the spine, drop the rib cage. Start to lift the leg. You're going to see, I feel right away that core engagement really helping to lift my legs. Keep that imprint. Breathe in here. Exhale, lower the leg. Inhale, back up. Exhale, lower. So I've got my good core engagement here. I'm not bracing through the upper body. Take your time. We're not tilting through the low back, and that's really what we're trying to do is here, keep the low back nice and supported. Drop the toes down, nice and controlled. Of course, one of the principles of Pilates is control, precision of movement, breathing, concentration. So just notice what's happening in the body here. Keep that core engagement. Try to soften the rest of the body. We're not limp, but we're not bracing either. Good. Keep that core. You've got it. Let's do 4 more. Probably doing more than we should, but that's okay. Beautiful. Let's all meet back in tabletop here. Next, we're going to do our double leg lift and lower. Again, my abs are still in my imprint. We're going to breathe in here. Exhale, lower the legs. Inhale, lift. And lower. And lift. And lower. Now, if you're starting to feel your low back working here, you want to pull in deeply into the core. Really keep that imprint. I can tell you for me, sometimes my low back starts to want to come in, and we really don't want that. We don't want any kind of pressure in the low back, any compression. Good. Let's do 2 more here. Just let yourself breathe. Find your own rhythm here. Good. Last one. I think that was an extra one. Let's all meet in tabletop. Let's take a moment to get ourselves there. Take a nice big breath here. Exhale, lower the legs. Set your feet down. Come back to neutral. Oh, good job, everyone. Let's take our knees in towards our chest. Let's just give ourselves a little stretch here. That was a lot of work. Fantastic. Well done. Beautiful. All right, let's bring ourselves into our all fours position, into our quadruped position. You may have heard this as all fours in yoga or quadruped in Pilates. It's all the same. So let's make our way there. I'm going to just put my hair back in my ponytail. And we're going to bring our hands underneath our shoulders and our knees underneath our hips. So I like to flare my hands out so I have a really nice firm base beneath me. So I encourage you to do the same. And that just is really nice also from a connectivity down to the earth kind of position. I really love that feeling underneath the pads of my hands. So go ahead and flare out the hands, starfish them, bring the knees about hip distance apart. And I'm just going to shift over here. Good. So first we're going to start off with our neutral spine. So, or nice long spine. Hands are right underneath the shoulders. And we've got some nice spreading of the hands here, and the knees are also nice and hip distance apart. Tops of the feet rest into the floor. So from here, we're going to go into spinal rotation variation. It's going to do a little bit of upper thoracic rotation here. So on your next inhale, weighing into the knees and into the right hand, we're going to inhale to lift the left arm up. Exhale, needle and thread the left arm underneath the right. Keep the hips as neutral as possible. Extend the left arm over in underneath the right. And then inhale, come back to neutral, 90 degrees. Exhale, keep the pelvis there. Open up. Inhale back to 90. Exhale, needle and thread. Twisting through the upper thoracic spine. Keep the abs engaged. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's continue 2 more. Beautiful. Last one. And when you're ready, inhale, come back to your tabletop position. Let's go ahead. I'm going to shift over onto the other side so I can do my right side. So again, knees are underneath the hips, hands are underneath the shoulders. Got a nice wide fingertips so that they're nice and spread. Wonderful. Just going to readjust everything here. All right, go ahead. Start with your neutral spine. We're going to inhale, reach that right arm up. First, we begin with this rotation. So we're reaching over towards the opposite side. Inhale. Exhale, open up. Inhale, back to neutral. That 90 degrees, sorry. Exhale, kneel and thread. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open up. Inhale, back to 90. Exhale, needle and thread. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open. Keep your pelvis nice and neutral here. And then exhale. Last one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open the chest. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, rest down. Beautiful. Let's come into shell stretch. And shell stretch, we just shift our pelvis down towards our heels. Let our arms extend if that feels good. You can even rest your elbows down closer to the body if that feels better. And go ahead and set yourself back into your quadruped position. So we're going to come right back into our quadruped, and we're going to go into cat stretch next. So knees are hip distance apart. Spine is nice and long. Shoulders are engaged. A little bit of pressure into the hands so that you have that nice shoulder support here. And as we're going to inhale, we're going to lengthen tailbone to crown. Exhale, tuck the tail under, round the spine, draw the gaze between the knees. Maybe even put a little bit of pressure into the hands to really facilitate a nice opening through the back of the body. Inhale, start to articulate right from that tailbone. Low back, mid back, upper back, come back to tabletop or quadruped. Exhale, pull the belly in. Really feel that engagement of the core in towards center. Inhale, back to neutral. Fantastic. Exhale. Inhale. Wonderful. Last two. Now we're starting to create the connection between movement and breath. Precision of movement, trying to think about that articulation of the spine, engagement through the core. Good. And then come back to your neutral tabletop or quadruped position. Fantastic. Next, let's go ahead and we're going to do our reaches, our spinal balance. And this is just going to kind of offer a little bit of oppositional strengthening. So, and also connection with breath, of course. So let's go ahead and we're going to slide our right hand as far as we can, keeping the pinky down towards the ground. Slide the left, I'm just going to move forward, left foot out. So toe of the left. Inhale, lengthen, reach from head to crown. Gaze is down towards the floor. Exhale, bring the right hand down, left knee back to base. Inhale, left arm reaches, right leg extends. Exhale, reach long. Keep that core nice and engaged, glutes nice and engaged, arm and leg are nice and long. Bring it back to center. Good. Let's do 4 more, 2 on each side. Breathe in, exhale, lengthen. And come back to center. Beautiful. Breathe in, exhale, inhale here, exhale, back to base. Nice job. Last one. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in to lengthen. Exhale, come back. Beautiful. Last one, breathe in. Breathe in to lengthen. Exhale, set it back. Nice job. Let's go ahead and set ourselves down onto our heels. Come back to shell stretch. Excellent job. Next, let's going to come on back onto our back, and we're going to go ahead and do our chest lift and then our chest lifts with rotations. So setting ourselves down to the floor, back to where we were before. Knees are going to be bent. Feet are going to be hip distance apart. We're going to start with our neutral spine. So again, here, this may be a good example of where we're going to test out and see where and what happens to our pelvis when we start to come into our chest lifts. So we're going to go ahead and take our hands and interlace the fingers, set them at the base of the crown. Widen through the chest. If it feels better for your elbow, for your shoulders to bring your elbows in a little bit, feel free to do that. If you feel better to fan them out, feel free to do that too. So with the hands kind of interlaced here like a basket, so your head is going to rest in your hands, and that's really key. We don't want our neck doing this work. We really want this to come from the core. So starting first in your neutral spine, let's lift the head up off the ground and let the head rest into the hand, really nice and heavy here. And you want to kind of bring the head so that it kind of, the neck pulls away a little bit from the shoulders so you can create some space in the neck. Keep that spine nice and neutral. Let's inhale here, exhale, lift. Inhale back down, exhale lower. Pulling through the core, inhale down, exhale lift. Let the head feel heavy and really start to bring that connection to the rectus abdominis here. The rectus abdominis is the six-pack, if you will, in the center of the core here. It really facilitates flexion. Good. Continue. Keep the chin kind of coming along and the neck coming along with the rest of the body. This is not coming from the neck. So that's really important. A lot of people, and me included, for years really forced this movement, and it really came from the neck rather than the core. And really what we're trying to really invite here is this awareness that the core is doing and facilitating this movement. Terrific. Let's do one more. And then come back down. Nice job. Beautiful. Set yourself back. Now notice if you did find yourself lowering the back down towards the floor, engaging through the glutes, maybe that's a cue for you to use imprint instead of a neutral spine. So still continuing with that neutral spine, we're going to go into chest lift with rotation. So we're going to inhale to lift the crown, pull the crown a bit away from the shoulders. Exhale, rotate right shoulder towards thigh. Keep your pelvis where it is. Inhale back to neutral. You're back in that flexion here. Exhale over to the other side. Inhale back to neutral. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Try to lift that chest up towards the thigh. Nice job. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Continue. Let's do 4 more. Fantastic. Last one. And come back through center. Rest your head down to the floor. Nice job. Beautiful. Excellent job. All right. So next we're going to go into one of the foundational exercises in Joseph Pilates' repertoire, and that's called the 100. Now, really, the 100 is really just such a foundational exercise. It is so wonderful because it really starts to get the blood flowing, and it's just such a nice exercise, but it can be challenging. So just be kind with yourself. If you feel like you need to take a break, please do. There's no problem with that. So I'm going to give you a couple of options here for the 100. Now, for the 100, what we're basically going to do is we're going to come into the flexion. We're going to reach the arms long. We're going to bring our legs up to tabletop. As we exhale, we're going to extend the arms, and we're going to start to pump the arms. The arms pumping is really to start getting that blood flow flowing through the body. And we're going to do a count of 5. So a count of 100, but 5 counts for an inhale, 5 counts for an exhale, and we're going to repeat that until we get to 100 counts of breath. So As we do this, if you find yourself getting tired with the legs, maybe bringing the legs out here doesn't feel good, feel free to bend them. Feel free to set them to the floor. Continue with that flexion, continue with the pumping. Maybe you need to take a break. Maybe your neck is starting to feel tired. Continue with the pumping, even if your head is down towards the floor. So just try to honor that and make sure you make any adjustments that you see fit for your body, okay? So we're going to do the 100 in Imprint, and we always do this exercise in Imprint really to be able to make sure that our pelvis is nice and supported. So we're going to extend the hands out to the side. Let's soften up the shoulders, relax through the upper body. We're going to inhale in through the nose, and as we exhale, we're going to pull ourselves into Imprint, bring our legs up into tabletop position. Inhale here. Exhale, we're going to extend the arms, reach the arms, and start to pump. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Halfway, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And inhale, breathe in. Exhale, bend the knees, draw them in towards your heart. Rest. Woo! So there are a couple of breaths you can do in the 100. You can do staccato breath where you inhale or exhale. Or you can have a smooth inhale, breathe in. 3, 4, 5, and exhale, breathe out. And it's really going to depend on you and what feels good for you. Nice job, everyone. Beautiful. Next, we're going to go into the roll-up. So one of the reasons I wanted you to take a towel or the blanket is to maybe, for today, offer a little support in the low back here for the roll-up. If you're new to roll-up, you're going to want to have something to really help support the low back. So feel free to set that kind of at the base of the tailbone if that feels good for you. And basically, you can use a strap here. And this is a great way to just start to get used to that sense of articulating through the spine. So if you want to use this strap, you can. Otherwise, if you want to try it out just with this and see how it goes, that's also an option. I'm going to actually do it with the strap, and then I'm going to take the strap away. So we'll see how that goes. I do tend to do the roll up with a blanket just to help with my low back area. But if you're familiar with the roll up and you know how to do it without the blanket, feel free to do that. So using the strap, setting it underneath the soles of the feet, I'm going to sit up nice and tall. Let's just roll ourselves down. And I've got the blanket kind of set right where my low back is, just kind of lifting up a little bit. Legs are long. Strap is nice and stretched here, so it's a nice way just to feel that body nice and long here. So from here, we're going to inhale, lengthen the body. Exhale, start to roll up through the neck, pulling in through the low belly, rolling up, vertebrae by vertebrae, and coming all the way forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, start to roll down, vertebrae by vertebrae. I think this is becoming a 60-minute class. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, start to roll. And you're really inviting the sense of articulating through each of the vertebrae. Coming forward, give yourself a little stretch if you want to. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, roll down. Pull into the low belly, all the way back down. Energize through the feet. Bring the inner thighs together. Beautiful. Lengthen. Roll up, vertebrae by vertebrae. And then lengthen up. Now this time I'm going to do a couple without the strap. You can set your strap off to the side if you want. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round through the spine, all the way down. This time just sweep the arms. And this is really the traditional way to do it. And exhale, inhale, start to reach arms up, articulating up vertebrae by vertebrae. Pull in deeply, bring the inner thighs together, reach to the heels, come all the way forward. Inhale, lengthen. Wonderful. Exhale, roll down. Inhale, lengthen. Long body. Exhale, start to pull through the belly. Start to round it through the upper body, rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae. Pull, pull, pull in through those low abs and come all the way forward and lengthen the spine. Woo, nice job. Fantastic. Well done. All right. Now we're going to go into a little extension. So let's lie down on our tummy. And we're going to do a little bit of extension with our hands out into a W shape. So kind of goal posted out. And this is really important that, again, for total body, we want to do the front, we want to do the back, we want to kind of do it all, but we really want to make sure that we also are nice and balanced. And this is really great work to do just to open up the front body and strengthen that posterior side of the body. So let's go ahead and lie on our tummy. Extend the arms out to a nice strong W here. Elbows can be slightly lower than the shoulders. Gaze is down towards the floor. Let's go ahead and zip up through our inner thighs. Let's take a moment here just to start to feel a little bit of relaxation. Let the head forward, down towards the mat. Now, as you're ready, we're going to inhale, roll the shoulder blades back. Exhale, pull in through the belly, engage the core, start to press gently into the floor and lift up. I'm going to do a little minor extension here. Now here, my abs are pulled in, my pubic bone is down on the floor, but I'm nice and lifted here. Putting a little bit of pressure into the hands, but also really working that upper thoracic spine. And then slowly come back down. Beautiful. Inhale, lengthen the body. Exhale, lift up. We're going to do about 4 here. And then come right back down. Fantastic. Breathe in, lengthen, keep those inner thighs squeezed together. Engage through the glutes and through the abs, and lift. And exhale, lower back down. When we're thinking about finding extension, we want to inhale to lift. And then exhale, lower back down. Fantastic. Nice job. Set your forehead down onto the top of your hands and let your pelvis kind of shift side to side. Excellent job. Slide your hands to the side. Press your hands into the floor. Shift your pelvis down. Give yourself a little counter stretch. Excellent job. Now let's go ahead and we're going to sit on our sits bones. Now, if you're using a blanket, I encourage you to, if you have a blanket, sorry, I encourage you to set your blanket down so that you can sit directly on it. And that's a nice way just to kind of raise your pelvis a little bit off the floor. And it also helps to kind of loosen up the hip flexors. So sometimes if we're tight through the hip flexors, if we have jobs where we're required to sit quite a lot, your hip flexors might be slightly tight, or you're driving a lot, even walking a lot. This is a nice way just to feel a little looser into the hips, but also a nice way to find a little bit of length through the spine. I know for me, this just feels so much more spacious than if I were sitting directly on the floor. Wonderful. Now we're going to do spine twist. So we're going to take our legs, extend them out long, flexing through the heels. We got some good engagement there of the feet, nice and wide through the inner thighs. Arms are going to extend out to the side, and we're just going to do some gentle rotations here. One thing I don't want you to do is I don't want you to torque that spine really hard here. Really think about creating that twist that works within your body as far as your range of motion goes, and then come back in through center. Think about belly button faces forward, arms are energized, spine is long. Breathe in and exhale, breathe out. Breathe in and out. I'm going to shift a little bit forward here and breathe in and out, and breathe in, and out. Wonderful. Keep going. Great. Last 2. Last one. And set your hands out to the side. Fantastic. Setting your hands onto the outer edge of the leg, we're going to go into spine stretch forward. So legs are still really energized, flexing through the heels here. Toes are maybe coming up towards you. Hands are going to rest down. Your spine is nice and long. You can bring your legs in actually a little closer to center. So breathing in tall, breathe in. As you exhale, pull the belly back towards the back of the room, round it through the spine. So you're keeping your pelvis nice and neutral, reaching the arms. And then inhale, restack the spine. Exhale, pull the belly in towards the back of the room. Just open up to that upper spine, coming into this forward flexion. Inhale, lengthen. Nice job. Exhale. Pull that belly in, engage through the core, and breathe in. Nice and tall. Good job. Exhale. Again, no force here. Keep that core nice and engaged. Pelvis is really not shifting forward here, just that upper spine. Exhale, roll forward. Breathe in. Good, and last one. And inhale, stack up the spine. Fantastic. Well done. Let's go ahead and bring our left foot in towards center. I'm going to stay lifted right on my blanket. I'm going to keep that left hip right up onto the blanket. I'm going to take my right hip back. And this is going to really help keep my hips nice and level here as we go into some lateral movement here. Now, if you have any hip issues, bringing your back foot like this doesn't feel good, don't do it. Just go into crisscross, applesauce, kind of crisscross leg, and that's going to feel just as good. Just keep yourself propped up if that feels better. So don't feel like you have to do this, especially if you've got some mobility issues in the hips. We want to really keep ourselves nice and safe. So inhale, bring the arms out to a nice strong upside down V. And we're going to go ahead and breathe and reaching with that right arm up. Exhale, keep your pelvis where it is and lean over. Good. Opening up the side body. Breathe in, reach that right arm all the way over to the right side. Exhale, lift the left arm, opposition. Keep that left hip right down. Lift up tall through the spine. Inhale, take that left arm out. Exhale, breathe in and reach over. Pelvis stays neutral. Breathe in, take that right arm back to center. Exhale. Breathe in. Beautiful. Exhale, breathe out. Wonderful. Let's do one more on this side. Breathe in and breathe out. Fantastic. And come right back through center. Well done, everyone. Let's go ahead and shift our legs over to the other side. This time we're going to take that blanket, set it underneath. If you want to, again, if you're familiar with this exercise, maybe you don't feel like you need to put a blanket underneath, just try to make sure that your pelvis is nice and neutral. And of course, if you have any knee issues and this doesn't feel comfortable, again, go back into crisscross applesauce. You could even do this with your legs extended. So don't feel like there's any sort of specific regimen that, especially if it doesn't fit for your body, make sure you adjust to make it work for you. All right, sitting up nice and tall, nice core engagement here. Arms are going to be extended out to the side. Take that left arm, breathe in. Exhale. So as I'm breathing out, I'm not lifting up through my hip here. My hip is glued to the floor, just allowing the side body to get a nice stretch. Breathe in back through center. Exhale, over to the other side. Wonderful. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in. Last one. And come right back through center. Well done, everyone. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and come into crisscross. I know this has been more than 45 minutes. I just get so excited that I kind of lose track of time. So I'm sorry, if you've done classes with me before, you know that that's the case. If you haven't done classes with me, I'm warning you ahead of time. All right, make yourself comfortable. So this was really some of the foundations. I didn't get to cover a lot of what I wanted to cover, but for the sake of time, I think what I'm going to do is this is going to be series 1 of our video set. I'm going to do another video in the upcoming days and just kind of building upon what we've done and just get more into these exercises a little bit more in depth. But really, this is the basics. We really want to make sure we're concentrating. We've got control of movement. We're working our body in all different ranges of motion: flexion, extension, rotation, lateral movement, lateral flexion. And that's really foundational to the Pilates repertoire of exercises. Hopefully, we're going to get used to those breathing patterns. I know they're a little different than what we're used to, especially if you're a yogi and you've done yoga before. It's kind of that shifting of the breathing that we got to get used to. But just be patient with it. I hope you rewatch this video. I encourage you to rewatch this video again and again, just so that you can get used to some of the foundational principles and getting used to some of the movements. If we continue doing this, we're going to get stronger and stronger and really create that body-mind connection. So let's go ahead and close this off with a nice big inhale and exhale, just to kind of release ourselves of all the great work we've embraced, I should say, all the great work we've done today. And let's close it off today. Let's go ahead and breathe in. Sweep the arms up. Palms pressed together. Exhale to your heart center. Give yourself a round of applause, because remember, 99.9% of the challenge is just showing up on the mat, and you did today, so be proud of that. Thank you so much, everyone. My name again is Sharon Hillenar from Live Coaching and Fitness. I hope to see you again soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.